Hey everybody, we're going to be doing some more maintenance stuff on the old 66 Mustang that I've had forever. So grab a drop light please. So we brought it in and we've already made a video on the master cylinder part. So now this thing needs a ball joint. So we're going to replace the ball joint, the upper ball joint on this car. So as you see, the spring's above the control arm. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a 2x4 and we are going to shove it in between the control arm and the frame here and get that pinned in there like that. So this ball joint has been replaced already once. So if you notice, let's it has bolts. It has bolts and nuts. Bolts and then nuts underneath to hold this ball joint in. So we've already done a ball joint on it and it's gone back. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get another, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pull the carter key out and we're going to take the castle nut off here. Once we get that off, we're going to take a hammer and smack on the spindle to get this to drop down. Then we're going to unbolt the ball joint to replace it. So let me get the carter key out and the castle nut out and we'll come back. Alrighty, we got the carter key out of the castle nut. It's a 7/8. It wasn't very tight. I know I put it on there. So now we're going to go ahead and get the nut to almost be completely off. That's probably pretty good. And you know, we could use a pickle fork in here, but I'm just going to go ahead and here, grab the camera. Let me see. Yeah, it's loose. Take the castle nut off the rest of the way. Alright, we're going to take a pry bar. We're going to see if this can come down any farther. There we go. Alright, so now the next step is if this one had rivets, we would take and get an air hammer with a chisel and we would chisel the rivets out and then pop the ball joint out. But this one here has already been replaced once. So we are going to you have to, you grab a 13 wrench? Yeah. There's the first one. Let's see. Now it's starting to spin. Not to worry, we have new nuts and bolts that came with the ball joint. This one's really tight. Get in here and there we go, got that broke free. slip in there or not? What do you think?
Maybe.
And that's simple. There is your old ball joint. The grease fitting's right here, but I know I have greased it in the past. So go ahead and take out the bolts. Now I know people are gonna complain. The ball joint that I got for this is I think it doesn't have a grease fitting. It does have a grease fitting?
Yeah.
Where's the new part? So I got a TRW ball joint that has, it's open. I bought a TRW ball joint. There's all the new hardware. Yep, there it is. There's where the grease fitting goes. But this is a new style. It has a different style boot on it than the original. The original had this big boot, and what the problem with these boots are is they always rip on the inside edge. So that is really strange that they put the grease fitting down there. You have to come up underneath. The original control arm has a hole right here that you put your grease fitting in. So now you got to come up through here to get to the grease fitting. Not a problem though. Got a new castle nut. All right. Let me get the grease fitting in the new ball joint and we'll come back. Alright, so we got the upper control arm cleaned off. We have our new hardware. These are 5/16 bolts. So I went and looked on the internet. It's supposed to be torqued to 17 foot-pounds. There's no instructions that I saw with them. So we're going to go ahead and put the new bolts in. The ball joint faces, that goes in. So we're going to slide this on up on there like so. Lock washer and a nut. That's going to go on. I'll go ahead and tighten this one all the way up as far as I can get so we'll hold the ball joint in. All right. I did not look and see what the torque spec is for that ball joint stud. I will have to go look. So I'll tell you what, I don't think we're going to be able to put these in this way. We're going to have to go the other way because the grease fitting, you're not going to be able to access the grease fitting. So these two bolts are going to have to go. Let's see. Oh man, that's still awful close. I don't know why they couldn't have made a dome and put the ball joint grease fitting back through the original hole. I'm going to go ahead and snug them up. Snug them up with this and then come back with the torque wrench to torque wrench these up. And let me find out what the torque is supposed to be on the castle nut. I know the castle nut, you have to tighten it up and then you have to line the nut up so you can get the Carter key back through, the safety Carter key back through. All right. Okay, there's that one. Let's get this one tight. Okay. All right, let me find out what the torque is for this, and we'll go ahead and I'll torque these off camera, but I'll torque these to 17 foot-pounds, and then we'll come back and find out what the torque is for that. All right, it said to torque these 5/16 bolts are supposed to be torqued to 17 foot-pounds. We got a torque wrench out, we torqued them, man, it didn't seem like they were tight enough. So after I torqued them, I went back around and just tightened them by hand until they were tight. I cannot find a torque spec for this nut. And the TRW ball joint did come with instructions, but they are a generic instructions for a tie rod end. So I don't even think these are the instructions that came in the box. So we're gonna tighten this up until it's tight, and then if we have to tighten it up a little bit more to get the Carter key through, that's what we're gonna do. Grab that. So let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this by myself or not. That's why you put a piece of wood. Actually, what you're supposed to do on these is, before you put the car up in the air, you're supposed to put a couple pieces of wood in to keep the control arm. You can see how far off I am. So I'm gonna have to pry down on the spindle. Can you reach over with your other hand? Give me a little extra help. Okay, but you're pulling out on it. Ready? Pull. Now, just cut the camera off. All right, we're gonna need all 4 hands to do this, to get this in here. And I'm gonna get a bigger pry bar. I did bend the backing plate, not a big deal. I'll straighten that out after we get the stud through the knuckle here. So let's get that done, I'll come back. All right, we got it back on there with using a bigger pry bar. So now, we're just gonna slide that back up, put the new castle nut on. It's 7/8. So we are just going to okay, that's really tight, and we're not lined up with the hole, correct? You don't see the hole there. Tell. Nope, so we got to go a little bit further. All right, are we lined up yet? Not yet. All right, we're lined up to pull down. Let me get the Carter key. So then the Carter key slips in. Here, back up a little bit. Let me see if I got it lined up. No, it's not quite lined up. It needs to go just barely there. There we go. Carter key's in. Where are the diagonal covers? Like on that. Here's a different pair. So I'm going to push down. Come over here. Push that down like that. And we'll cut that off. Come around and cut the other end off, and there we go. All right, so now the only thing we have to do is we have to get in here with a grease gun, and we will come at this angle and grease the ball joint, and the job is done, and I'll straighten that out in a second. All right, everybody, I guess we'll leave it at this. We're gonna grease it, put the tire back on, and we're done with the ball joint installation. I might not be able to get this piece of wood back out. If I can't, I'll just let the car down on the ground with the tire on it. This controller will go up. This piece of wood will just, I can reach in, I'll be able to pull this piece of wood right out. All right, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe. You can always do that in that corner. Please give me a thumbs up if you like my automotive video.